Hi everyone, I'm Tanaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of February 13th. So we are in full moon week. The full moon peaks on the 16th and it falls in the sign of Leo. Whenever we are gearing up to a full moon, we tend to feel the energy most strongly before the full moon arrives. So if you were like, I'm already feeling the full moon and the full moon hasn't come, that is because we feel that build up of energy. And then as we have the full moon, the energy then starts to fade. So depending on when you're watching this video, you might be feeling the rise or you might be feeling the fall of that energy, sort of melting away. Either way, full moons can draw things to the surface. They illuminate things. So if emotions have come to the surface, if information has come to the surface, know that this is your guidepost, your sign from the universe to look at it, to reflect, to think about, okay, what emotions are coming up for me? Because it's likely that those emotions have been buried and they're now coming to the surface for release. Remember, full moons are a point of release. And if we think about the way energy flows around the full moon, energy is drawn outward. So, energy moves in from inside to our outer world. And so you can use that flow of energy to your advantage by thinking about what it is that you want to release, to get out of you and out into the world, and to think about what, if emotions and thoughts and feelings or information does come up, where is the universe trying to lead you? What needs to be worked through? What needs to be processed? What do you need to address? So these are all things that we can think about at full moon time. Now, what's interesting about this full moon is that it's making an alignment with the lunar nodes. The lunar nodes represent our destiny. They can represent our past lives, where we've come from, what we have mastered in previous lifetimes, and then where we're heading in this life, what we've come here to master, how we're using those skills acquired in our previous lifetimes to lead a life in this life, to reach our highest destiny, to fulfill our goals, to lead a life of purpose. And this full moon is triggering that energy. So what we might find or what we might feel drawn to think about, how we can lead a life of more purpose. We might think about, am I really, on the path of my destiny? How can I align myself with the things that I really want to be doing? What might that look like? We might also start to think about, or naturally and organically and, by the magic of the universe, we might find people, situations, events that are aligned with our highest destiny come into our lives under this full moon. So there's some really nice energy under that. I also want to offer you this. The full moon is in the sign of Leo, and Leo is grand and big and showy. It's that big, bright, bold energy. But because I do all of this on an intuitive level as well, when I was tuning into the energy behind this full moon, actually what I really felt was that this idea of highest destiny, this idea of living our life, full of purpose and feeling, with purpose, and I'm living my purpose. This is so great. The feeling was, what if that idea doesn't have to be some big grand thing that's out there, out in the world and based on what we do in our careers and how we spend our day. What if living the life of our highest destiny, living a life aligned with purpose, is actually something a little bit more still, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more internal? What if living a life of purpose has nothing to do with our careers, nothing to do with, what's happening in our outside world, and everything to do with our state of mind? What if living a life of highest destiny and highest purpose is all about our state of mind? And I don't think that's 100% true, but I think that there is a lot of truth in that. And that piece seemed to be the focus on an intuitive level under this full moon. How can we get rid of that idea that living our life of purpose and highest destiny is like some big grand thing that we have to struggle to achieve? It's like some far off, ego driven sort of place that only a few of us are lucky enough to reach. And what if it's something within all of us, within all of our, each one of us can grasp it in a small, internal, quiet way, in an inner way? How can we tap into that rather than thinking about our highest destiny as, flashing Broadway lights? What if it's more a still, quiet place? And I actually touched on that idea in the Leo full moon forecast that I wrote for you up on foreverconscious.com. And in there, I've put some questions, and you can use those questions as journal prompts. They're kind of within the article, but things like, what makes you feel aligned with your purpose? What gives you the greatest sense of purpose? Is it necessarily connected to your career or this big grand idea, or is it just small little things that happen throughout the day that just fill you with a sense of, that feels like what I'm here to do, or that just aligns with me? And it might always change. It might be something different every day. I don't know. But how can we take this idea of purpose and destiny, take all the big flashing lights out of it, and bring it to a more quiet, still internal place, and think of it more as a state of mind rather than what you're necessarily doing? Just a thought, just something to put out there, something to think about. I'm not saying that I have all the answers or that's what it is, but it's just something to think about and something that came to me when I was working with the full moon energy. The other thing that this full moon is happening at this full moon, I did touch on this last week, is that under this full moon, Venus and Mars come together in alignment. Venus and Mars coming together represents creativity, passion, a balance of masculine and feminine energies. It's a really beautiful, harmonious connection, and it will be amplified under the full moon energy. So there's some bold energy under this full moon as well, with this Venus and Mars coming together. And this is going to sort of activate our attraction level, our ability to attract. So on a full moon, by sort of energy flows outward, right? So energy can come from in us and then flow out. So it's like a release point. But this Venus and Mars energy is also going to help us think about what it is that we want to draw to us. So there's kind of like this big energy happening in the cosmic skies. Energy's flowing in, energy's flowing out. It's beautiful. Maybe it will feel a little overwhelming to some of us because on some level we may be feeling the need to release, and then on other levels we might be feeling the need to call in or be creative or put our ideas out into the world. So we might feel a little push-pull between these flows of energy. But this Venus-Mars energy is going to be around for a while. It will be with us until March. So know you've got time to work with that energy. And actually, we might find that we're able to work with it a little bit better once this full moon energy starts to dissipate. So again, Venus and Mars, if you want to dive deeper into that, I've written an article about it. It's on foreverconscious.com. I will drop all the links below that I'm talking about too in the description box under the video. But this is a highly creative, passionate energy. And one of the things that really stands out about this Venus and Mars alignment is liberation. How can you feel liberated? How can you feel free to be you, to be your truest, authentic, weirdest, awkward, quirkiest self? All of that. How can you own that, show up as that, and ride that? And that's actually very connected to this idea of purpose. I say that when we're in alignment, when we're being truthful and authentic to ourselves, that feeling of purpose automatically just follows. So authenticity, being true to ourselves, all of that is really supported under this Venus-Mars energy because there's this strong force there that's helping us to be liberated, to be authentic, to own all of who we are, flaws and all, perceived flaws and all. And then also, that's the energy of the full moon. After the 16th, that will start to sort of fade. And then on the 18th, 19th, so that'll sort of depend on your time zone, the sun will shift into Pisces, out of air sign Aquarius into water sign Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So this is the sun's final stop on the zodiac wheel. And as its final stop, it enters a state of reflection. It's able to look back over the journey, moving through all the other 11 signs of the zodiac, and look back on all those lessons, all of those gifts, all of those, that whole journey, and be able to look back and see things from a bigger picture perspective, to see things, oh wow, that led to that and that led to that. That awareness is what Pisces season gives us. It helps us to shift into a higher awareness because we're at the end of that journey. In astrology, the sun represents the core of who we are. So as the sun makes its way to this final stop on the zodiac wheel, in a sense, that's like us reaching this final stop on this energetic journey, and how we can use that final stop as a resting place, as a place to look back and see things with a bigger picture lens, and to also shift into a state of higher consciousness, understanding that we can now see the journey, how one thing led to another. So that shift begins to happen once the sun shifts into Pisces, which happens, like I said, on the 18th or 19th. So that is the energy for the week. The moon is doing lots of cool things. The sun is doing a lot of cool things. Venus and Mars dazzling up the night sky for us as well. So much energy. Look after yourselves. Like I said, because there is so much energy, and even though there's a lot of it is very beautiful, it can feel overwhelming. I also want you to know that this Venus and Mars energy, as beautiful as it is, and as much as I want you to be able to tap into the creative, magnetic, liberating energies of it, know that it will be with us till March. So you've got time. You've got time to use it. Allow this full moon to take you to a deeper place. And actually, I remember reading one time that one of the gifts, or one of sort of the highest vibrations Leo energy can reach, because we have this Leo full moon, is simplicity. And I think there's a lot of beauty in that and truth in that. And so because this full moon is activating, that higher destiny energy, how can we look at that from a place of simplicity? So I'll leave it there for this week. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'll be back next week, of course. Always, there's more for you at foreverconscious.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much.